Today, atheists are constantly pumping an idea to us. Where does this idea installment take place? Sometimes it takes place on a biscuit paper, sometimes in a TV show, in a word of a television actor. Sometimes it takes place in your teacher's mouth. There are some sentences that you come across in many different places, websites or social media channels. As they do not believe that there is a creator of this universe, as they are irreligious, they have to put something in its place. See how they put them. First, I will read you a description. I'm very surprised. What is nature? You know, we hear nature. What is nature? Look what it is. Self-subsisting. I'm not giving the description of Allah, friends. I'm giving the description of nature. All living and inanimate beings that exist self-subsisting and do not need anything else and constantly renew themselves. Isn't it interesting? Very interesting. All living and inanimate beings that exist self-subsisting and do not need anything else and constantly renew themselves. First, what have atheists and disbelievers done? First, they have removed the description of nature from being an art. They have shown as nature as its own creator. Is it correct? And such a creator that does not need anything. But at the end of this lesson, we will see together how stupid ideas these are. For example, I've read very interesting statements. Nature is healing us. I'm not lying. Go online and see. Look what's written on biscuits, the drugs, the pharmacies, the grocery stores, and you will be very surprised. Nature offers us wonderful fruits. The magnificent visual feast that nature offers us. The blessings nature offers us. Miracles, blessings that nature offers us. Look at the expressions. Nature is a great artist. It shows us how great artist it is with sounds, colors, and shapes. It is impossible not to see the generosity of nature. The benevolence and compassion of nature seem obvious. Mother Nature speaks to us. Nature teaches people what they should know. If you don't follow the rules of nature, it punishes them. Like earthquake, flood, tsunami, human being is the most beautiful masterpiece of nature. Nature gives peace. We are changing what we believe as of today. Friends, look at the expressions of atheists about nature, of atheists who say they don't believe in a creator, who try to humiliate us in their way saying, these narrow-minded Muslims say that there is a creator who is offering to us, who has mercy on us, who has compassion on us. I've got this in 5 to 10 minutes. If I tried a little more, you will see how much nonsense they were talking. You have given such meanings to what you call nature, living and inanimate things. I'm very surprised at that. Human being is the most beautiful masterpiece of nature. In other words, nature is an artist. Nature has compassion and mercy. Very interesting, isn't it? But you know what is weird? These are also included in the books you read in schools. Mother Nature, right? There is Mother Nature. We take the bait. And olive oil, it's been written, the miracle of nature. These are the manifestations of the practices of Atheism policy. With the ideas are constantly pumped into our subconscious that will take us from Allah. They are trying to remove Allah and form a factious nature and Mother Nature in people's minds, and thus make us give our innate feelings such as gratitude, thanks and praise to them. Look what it says. And we form an unreal holy nature that does not exist and give thanks to it. Look what it says. Very interesting. It punishes you if you don't follow the rules of nature. We are faced with a nature that punishes, shows mercy, is compassionate and artist. Let's see if this is so. Bediuzzaman gave the necessary answer to such idiots with his work titled Treatise of Nature. Please, you read all of them. I'll read a tiny bit and I give you an example from there. But please keep this in your mind. It's a short lesson, but read the Treatise of Nature. Its name even given to Treatise of Nature by Said Nursi. That is, these disbelievers, nature worshippers. These are idolaters, friends. It wasn't only in the time of our prophet that there were pagans, there are also now nature worshippers. Here, Said Nursi, by writing the Treatise of Nature, explains how ridiculous ideas they have that nature cannot be creator in 9 main subjects with hundreds of examples. Read and see what kind of idiotism atheism is. See what an irrational idea. Look at the praises of atheists towards nature, who say they have not seen anything as ridiculous as believing in God. How interesting. Look, friends, what does the Master say at the beginning of the Treatise of Nature? We Muslims will not rise to the bait. We will correct our tongue. We will make our tongue faithful and Islamic. Oh man, you should be aware that there are certain phrases which are commonly used and imply unbelief. Allah doesn't like these words. Don't use them. These are not unimportant words that you can simply say and ignore. These are the sentences that Allah dislikes and accepts as shirk. The believers also use them, but without realizing their implications. We'll know, we'll wake up. Why think nature? Who is nature? We'll wake up. We have to fix such nonsense. We believe in Allah. You will soon see why you believe. Oh man, you should be aware that there are certain phrases which are commonly used and imply unbelief. People of faith, that is believers who believed in God. The believers also use them, but without realizing their implications. We shall explain 3 of the most important of them. Master has taken 3 of them. First, see whether we use it in a daily life or not. Causes create this of what we see. What am I saying, Alperen? Gotta listen to the lesson, since we came to class, right? Causes create this. What do causes mean? For example, you see soil, right? The soil has made this flower. The water has grown this flower. You see it as the reason. This sun has warned me. The reasons are doing. So I planted this fertilizer. The peach was amazing. It tastes, etc. I'm asking you now, if a shit was able to taste peach, it would give it to shit itself. Is it correct? But do what would you say? When we dunk this shit, peach gets a wonderful taste. It's awesome. Reasons. Do you understand the reasons? People use it. The second, it forms itself. It comes into existence and later ceases to exist. How are the things occurring in this universe? By themselves, atoms come together and say to themselves, let's make parsley. Atoms come together and say, let's not always make parsley, but a little lettuce. Let it be a little curly, a little bit of something like that there, right? What is it? Let it be basil. Atoms do it themselves. We use this. What do you even say? It's raining. So it is like raining by itself. Isn't it? It's raining. Is it raining? Or is it being rained? Well, now, when you say it is raining, there is no one who makes it rain. Right? Pay attention to all of the sentences you talk about this universe. We always say these. We always say this kind of things. That is, we separate the action from its creator Allah. What happens when it is separated? then you have not fulfilled a speech that is a necessity of faith. It is not snowing. Allah makes it snow. It doesn't rain. Allah makes it rain. The wind is not blowing. Allah makes it blow. One day a brother taught a lesson similar to this. After the lesson, he went to make wudu, while in lavatory, an old brother making wudu, like me, he had explained in the lesson that Allah does everything, Allah does everything, Allah does everything. After that, while he was making wudu, someone smacked his neck like this, sharp. When he was about to turn around, the guy said, "Don't turn around. Isn't it everything from Allah?" said his friend cunning. He said, "Yes, everything is from Allah, but I'm looking at which undignified person he made it." Yes, everything is from Allah, but we will see how the reasons as a wheel while seeing Allah who rules behind the truth. Now be careful here. What is the third one? Thirdly, this is what we focus on. It's mentioned as ikadatul tabiat. That is, it's natural. What do they say? If the conditions have become suitable, then life occurs. It is normal. Why do you look for a crater? Ask yourself a question of who brings the conditions together and makes them suitable. Do this is something related to these conditions. So if the conditions come together, it becomes a tree. If the conditions come together, the bee makes honey. So the conditions. But how do these conditions occur? In other words, there is the knowledge willpower that will require the conditions to be created. Who is this? Right? How interesting. There are thousands of questions to ask. A short lesson by Bediuzzaman. We will cover it together and we'll give an example. Keep in mind, indeed, since being exists, friends, now we move on to the proof. We will prove our faith in our minds to people who do not want to see this. While Allah's existence is obvious, we will show this clarity very clearly with an example soon. Repeat in this class with me. Normally, I will draw this on the board, but I hope we will draw it in your minds. Yes, we are talking to atheists. Suppose there are atheists. Indeed, since being exists and this cannot be denied. Can it be denied? Here is the tree, the bird, the universe, the stars, the galaxies, everything is there. And since, pay attention to this sentence, and since each being comes into existence in a wise and artistic fashion, is it correct? Is there anything useless or worthless in the universe? Is there anything that is not beneficial? In fact, is there anything that is not beneficial? In fact, what we think that isn't beneficial is actually due to our ignorance. They find their benefits later on. Attention now. And since each of the assets in the universe is not outside time, but is being continuously renewed, that is, it does not always exist. It always occurs later. Can this be denied? No. Then, O falsifier, or the truth, O denier. Attention to this sentence. This existence, that is everything you see in this universe. For example, if we keep it shortly, you are bound to say either that the causes in the world create beings, for example, this animal, that is to say, this flower, this animal, it comes into existence through the coming together of causes. Or you will say that is not like that, they are being on their own. Atoms in the universe. They unite and form the flower and animals in the universe by themselves, or that it forms itself, or that is coming into existence as a requirement and necessary effect of nature. So, our mother nature has demanded this way. The necessary ground has been prepared for the formation of assets by the combination of laws, or that is coming into existence is a requirement and necessary effect of nature. Or, not one of these three options. It is through the power of one all-powerful and all-glorious Allah. He is inventing this animal, this flower. We'll say, now I'm asking, how many subjects have we counted? 4. Since reason can find no way apart from these 4, if there is a flower, if there is an animal, if there is a human, if there is a world, if there is an atom, if there is a universe, if there is a sun, for the formation of this by reason, I underline this. By reason, there are no other ways than 4. 1. causes create of all these beings. 2. It happens by itself. You will soon see what is meant by the causes. 2. It happens by itself. 3. Assess of form as a requirement of nature. 4. Allah. There is no other choice. One day, one brother from a military, while I was talking to him, I gave this example and he said, "How do we know there is no other way than 4 ways?" I said, "Then give an example." "Could it be aliens who did it?" he said. I said, "It may be, but it is out of reason. To me, it might even be a teapot that made it. It can be anything. Yes, it is not the possibilities. It is observable things that is reasonable. We see the reasons, we see the atom, we see nature, right? On top of that, we will look at the reasonable options, because other than this is a dream. We're not dealing with dreams. What are we dealing with? We are dealing with science, and we reach the conclusion with what we see. Now, friends, let's go through these 4 reasonable ways together. I'm putting a flower over there. Imagine this flower in your mind. Don't think the house, life, wife, daughter, work, everything. Focus here. What did we put here? Flower. Let this flower be rose, red, green, peduncle. Green leaves have a gorgeous rose right now on the table. What was the claim? This flower. Reasons did. Let's count the reasons around the flower immediately. The soil. It's a flower pot. There is soil. What is another cause? There is water. Another? There is air. There is the sun. 4 main reasons. Others remain in it. Write the 4 main reasons in your mind. What's this? The reasons are doing. Soil, air, water, the sun. Are you reading the writing? I didn't write it verse, inshallah. Alright? Here are the reasons you read. Second, the atoms in the flower and the soil, the atoms in the water. They come together and give the shape, color, pattern, and scent of this flower. I'm putting the second. What was there, Murat? Reasons here. Atom? By itself. What was the third one? This flower has been formed by the merits of this nature as required. We call it the third option. The fourth is Allah. We will look at this last. Now, friends, since we are in the age of science and knowledge, so it is claimed on this flower we explore, we created this flower. So, what should we do first? Let's take a look at the flower. I'm asking now, what's your name? Baybars. Baybars, what a beautiful name you have, Baybars. Baybars, is there any shape in the flower? There is. I wrote it here, look. So, is there a color in the flower? There is. I also wrote the color. Is there a scent in the flower? There is. Well, is there a program in the flower? That is, does it follow a sequence from the core to the last part? It does. There is a program. So is there an architecture in the flower? There is. Are these works? Works. Well, we see these works. Can they be denied? So what is required to be able to do these works? I'm asking now. That is to be able to give shape in order to produce scent without chemical processes to do an architectural job. I'm asking you. Baybars? If there were not science, that is one doesn't know what it means to shape, if one didn't know about chemistry, if one doesn't know engineering or hasn't studied architecture, can he do an architectural job? So what do we write here? Science. So without science, without knowledge, can the works here be done? Cannot be done. If so, these works cannot be done without knowledge. Keep in mind. But is knowledge enough to do a job? What do you need? You need a force. It takes power to bring that science to life. I write right under the knowledge. Power is needed. Well, why are they needed? These are the necessary attributes for the works appearing in the flower. Knowledge and power. But what if there is no will? Can the choice be made? Can the red be sorted out from the pink? Can the brown be sorted out from the square? It cannot be. So what is the third needed? Will is needed. What have we written? We have written knowledge, we've written power, we've written will. Well, let me ask you, what is your name?
Batuhan.
How old are you?
13
Batuhan. You'll be 13 soon. Batuhan, there is knowledge, will, power. Does a dead person possess these features? No way. What is needed then? Life is needed. Will the lifeless person possess knowledge, will, and power? No way. Then I write life, owner at the top. Down below, I write will owner. Under, I write owner of knowledge. Down below, I write owner of power. Well, let me ask you by bars. Can those works be done without seeing them? Can't be done. What feature is needed? Vision is required. I've added this below. Without the adjectives of life, knowledge, will, vision, and power, is it possible of this beautiful crimson rose to come out there? It is not possible. Now, friends, because we are smart, so let's examine immediately the adjectives life, knowledge, will, power, vision that we've written here. There were 3 assets here: soil, water, air, the sun, right? Atoms and nature. Let's take a look at these first. Are there adjectives of life, knowledge, will, power, and vision in the soil? In the water? Could I have drunk if it had a will? It would escape, saying, "What are you doing?" isn't it? So it has no will, no knowledge. There is no power in the soil. What about the sun? Does the sun see? Does it have knowledge, will, power? No. So friends, it means that these reasons such as soil, air, water, the sun cannot be the creator of this flower. No. Why? Because what we have written here do not have adjectives like life, knowledge, and willpower. Let's eliminate the first option. What was the second? Atoms do this. It occurs on its own. Atoms and cells do this work with such a teamwork. I'm asking if there is a chemist among you. Do atoms see? You are studying at school, right? The smallest unit of the universe, lifeless. This is the first word. Well, if it has lifeless, this 15-year-old brother just expressed, will there be knowledge, will, sight, and power in the inanimate? What have we done here with the atom? We eliminated. Shall I tell you a story about it? Remember that though, while we describe it as atom, we think everybody knows the atom and so on. One friend does not know about these issues, so what chemistry is, so he doesn't know these issues at all. So we are all talking about the atomic lesson, just like this lesson, the atom is like this, the atom is like that. When we said atheists claim that atoms make everything, it had been saying from inside, these atheists are really idiots. How could atom make this universe on its own? So we understood that. The man understood the lesson. So halal, brother. Of course, when the man said it later, it exploded. What he called as an atom is that you are throwing hazelnuts in apricots in coffee, there is an atom. He said, how could it make this universe? How morons are these atheists? Yes, he is right, atheists don't look at events as we do, but atom is not that atom. What is an atom? The smallest unit of an element. So, because there is no features of life, knowledge, will, power, and vision in the atom cannot be creator of this flower. They cannot come together and give the shape of the flower. By coming together, they cannot color it. They cannot pattern it. We eliminated soil, water, air, sun. We eliminated the atom. What is nature? What has been said? All living and inanimate beings in the entire universe, well, if there are not these features in its sub-elements, do they exist in the whole of it? That is, are the knowledge, will, power in a tree? Well, are there in the soil? Well, if there are there any knowledge, will, power in a tiny piece of soil? Are there in the whole of the soil? Therefore, there are no features of life, knowledge, will, power in the nature. What have we understood by us? So the reasons that is claimed as the creator of this flower, such as soil, air, water, the sun, cannot be creator. 2. Atom cannot be creator of the flower. It does not have these adjectives. Nature is the name of the whole, where the causes are formed with this atom. If so, this cannot be creator either, because these adjectives don't exist in it either. So, what do you need to make this flower? You need someone with life, knowledge, will, power, and vision. Do you know any such thing? No, there is human. We have life, we have knowledge, we have will, we have power, we see, we hear, but we cannot create a flower, an insect, a human, a world, a star, a cloud. Why? Because the adjectives in us are limited. Since it is limited, another formula emerges. So, since these adjectives in us are limited, we cannot make it. The adjectives we have written here has to be infinite to make this flower. Infinite knowledge, infinite power, infinite life, and infinite sight are needed so that this flower emerges. Because human beings who are limited cannot achieve this. Did we get here, bro? Well, since this flower is not made by these three options, what was left? A single option? We call it Allah. He introduced himself to us as Allah. How does he introduce himself to us? I am the creator who has life, knowledge, will, power, who sees and hears. How do we understand the words that Allah said in the Quran? Is he really like this? We understand it from the flower. The flower becomes the proof of the words of Allah. Everything you see, ants, animals, galaxies, stars, these are the proofs that Allah says, I am the owner of life, knowledge, will and power. Here, the atheist thoughts are that much empty. You cannot find a scientific explanation in the statements of atheists. All they say is opinion according to me. When they can't get out of the situation, why are these hungry people in Africa? Come with knowledge. What is that? Why did we explain this now? Since they are unable to drive us from Allah, who is offering us, Allah who has mercy on us, Allah who heals us, who has created us and keeps our body going all times, and who brought us all the blessings, who is the creator of this universe. What are they doing? In the mind of young generations, starting from schools, TV series, olive oil you bought, biscuits, chocolates, with concepts like the nature's offerings to you, the blessings that nature gives you, the remedy of nature, they are trying to create an idol in your mind. We have just seen that none of these idols can be a creator. What are we going to say then? There is no God but Allah. It is Allah who offers us. It is Allah who heals us. It is Allah who loves us. It is also Allah who will punish us if we live in a way as He does not want us to. Allah is worthy of all praise. Allah loves His servants, and human being is one of the most beautiful works of art Allah has created. Look, this time it falls into place. So why do they drive this nature? Because there is a conscience in man who cannot deny these things. Do you see the mercy? We see there is a mercy in the universe. Is there an offering in the universe? There is. There is a mercy in the universe. There is an offering, you see it. What comes to the mind of a smart person? Who is offering it? Who bestows? Who gives? You're getting caught. Look at that. Here your finger is made up of atoms. Think like tiny sand. It is cut off. But from the moment it is cut, a magnificent activity that will stop the mind of the human being begins at your fingertips. Blood coagulates suddenly so you don't die from loss of blood. What is coagulation? Do atoms know that? Who knows these delicate, sensitive balances? We have just seen that there is no life, knowledge, willpower in the atoms. There is no such ability in the cells. If so, somebody clothes my blood. There is a constant manifestation in your body. Then the cells start sticking there. It sticks. What is you happening next? Then it becomes flat as if it was never cut. Look, there is a manifestation of a creator with eternal life, knowledge, will, and power in your body. Look, he holds the atoms in your whole body together. He holds the galaxies together. In a moment, Allah Almighty gives fruit that the human and the animals can eat from trees. So what should be the result of this? Allah, I have believed in you. I have accepted you. And I thank you. I praise you. Saying this, we have to remove those words that imply unbelief that Bediuzzaman said in the beginning of the lesson from our lives and your tongue. The rain. Allah, how beautiful you make it rain. Feel free, friends. Allah, how beautiful flowers you have created. When you go in front of a greengrocer, say, Allah, how magnificently created fruits these are. Endless thanks be to you. Your mercy for me, your love for me, your compassion for me. You show me your help in the form of such fruits. Say, don't hesitate. Feel free to say that Allah created, Allah made beautiful. Let me end with a word from Bediuzzaman. What is he saying? Do not say, how beautiful. Say, how beautifully made. Put it in your daily life. Wind. How beautiful you are blowing it, Allah. Oh, Allah, how beautifully you make me get warm, right? Allah, how beautiful things you are creating. Such sincere, from your heart. We will look at the universe without forgetting the artist. We will exclaim our faith. Inshallah. Al-Fatiha.